The palace stood like a jewel in the middle of the sprawling city. Its towers shone with a soft silver light reflecting the twin suns that hung low in the sky. The air around the palace was calm, almost peaceful. But Kyle, the human envoy, could feel a strange tension vibrating through the ground beneath him. It was subtle at first, a faint hum beneath his boots, but it was enough to make his instincts scream. "It's starting," he whispered to himself, staring at the palace walls that shimmered with alien energy. Kale had spent months in the palace of Queen Liara, the ruler of this distant world. He was the first human diplomat to serve here, and his mission was clear: to learn, observe, and prove that humanity could be trusted allies. So far, he had seen wonders beyond his imagination: floating gardens, towers that bent light, and creatures that shimmered with bioluminescent skin. Yet beneath all this beauty, Kyle sensed something dangerous stirring. He walked quickly through the grand corridors, the sound of his boots echoing off walls that seemed alive. Servants, both human and alien, moved gracefully, performing their duties as if the palace had always been in perfect harmony. But Kale's eyes caught the flicker of unease in their movements, the way they hesitated, glanced nervously at the ceiling, or stopped mid-step. Kale reached the observation deck, a platform that overlooked the palace courtyard. From here he could see the city stretching endlessly, with buildings rising like crystalline trees. He took a deep breath and activated his handheld scanner. The device hummed, showing irregular energy readings pulsing beneath the palace foundations. The numbers climbed faster than anything he had seen before. He turned to the nearest aide, an alien with smooth blue skin named Terrell. "These readings, they're off the charts. Something is happening below us." Terrell tilted his head, his large eyes reflecting concern but also disbelief. "You may be overreacting, human. The palace has withstood far greater stresses than this." Kale shook his head. "I've been trained to trust my instincts. This isn't normal. I need to warn the queen." He moved swiftly toward the throne room. The corridors were narrower here, filled with intricate carvings that told stories of Liara's ancestors. Kale had admired them before, but now they seemed to close in around him, each symbol pulsing with a hidden warning. He pushed the unease aside. He had a duty, and he would not ignore it. The throne room was enormous, filled with soft golden light that seemed to come from nowhere. Queen Liara sat on her elevated throne, her posture regal and calm. Her skin was pale gold and her eyes glimmered like molten amber. Around her, advisors and guards moved silently, their attention focused entirely on her. Kale approached, bowing slightly. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "I must speak with you. It's important." Liara's eyes softened as she regarded him. She had learned to trust Kale's instincts over the months, but she had also seen him overreact in minor situations. "Speak, Kale, what troubles you?" He took a deep breath. "The palace. It's not stable. The readings are off the charts. Something beneath us is activating. I believe it could be dangerous." Liara's expression remained calm, but Kale thought he saw the smallest twitch of unease in her eyes. "Dangerous?" "Kale, the palace has withstood centuries of storms and quakes. Are you certain this is not a misreading?" Kale shook his head. "I've checked it 3 times. It's real. I felt it too. A vibration beneath the ground. I don't think it's natural. We need to investigate before it's too late." Liara leaned back, folding her hands in her lap. "You worry too much, human. The palace is protected by the old wards. Our ancestors would have ensured it could withstand anything." Kyle pressed on. "Your Majesty, with all respect, if this is what I think it is, those wards may not be enough. We need to examine the foundations immediately." The Queen studied him for a long moment, her silence heavier than any words. Then she finally said, "Very well. You may investigate, but be cautious. The palace is not accustomed to human methods." Kale nodded. He moved quickly, accompanied by Terrell and a few trusted engineers. They descended into the lower chambers far beneath the palace floor. The air grew cooler and the walls pulsed faintly with energy. Strange glyphs lined the walls, glowing softly as if reacting to their presence. Kale's heart raced. This was no ordinary palace foundation. Something ancient and powerful lay beneath them. They reached the central chamber, a circular room filled with strange machinery that hummed with life. Kale approached a control panel and ran his scanner over the devices. The readings spiked violently. Energy surged in unpredictable patterns, creating ripples in the floor that shook their boots. Terrell stepped back. This is old beyond measure. I have never seen anything like it. It could be dangerous to touch, Kyle nodded. I know, that's why we need to understand it first. We can't ignore this. He carefully tapped the surface of a console and a holographic map flickered to life. It showed layers beneath the palace, ancient chambers and conduits extending far into the planet itself. Energy flowed through these channels like glowing rivers. At the center was a large pulsating core unlike anything Kyle had ever seen. That's it, he whispered. That's the source, and it's waking up. Suddenly, the floor trembled beneath them, stronger than before. Sparks flew from the machinery as alarms blared through the chamber. Kyle grabbed Terrell's arm. We need to report this immediately. The palace may not hold much longer if this escalates. They rushed back to the surface, emerging into the grand halls. Servants scurried in all directions, some glancing fearfully at the walls that had begun to hum and crack. Kale felt a pang of urgency. He had to get the queen before panic spread. The throne room doors swung open as they entered. Liara was waiting, her calm composure almost unnerving amidst the chaos. Kale approached quickly. Your Majesty, the situation is critical. The source of the tremors is a device buried beneath the palace. It is ancient and extremely powerful. We must act before it becomes unstable. Liara studied him quietly, her amber eyes reflecting both curiosity and concern. This is indeed troubling, she said softly. Your caution is noted, Kale, but we must not act recklessly. Let us observe a moment longer and see if the wards stabilize it. Kale clenched his jaw. He wanted to argue, to insist they act immediately, but he knew the queen valued patience and observation. Still, the tremors grew stronger. The walls shuddered, the chandeliers swung, and a deep vibration resonated through the floors. Kale looked around, his chest tightening. With all respect, Your Majesty, the palace may not withstand this much longer. Liara rose, her golden robes flowing around her. Then we must prepare, she said, her voice steady but commanding. Send the guards to secure the halls. Warn the citizens, and Kale, stay with me. As the queen spoke, a loud, violent tremor shook the palace. Dust fell from the ceilings and distant alarms echoed through the corridors. Kale gripped the edge of a table to keep his balance. The human envoy's instincts screamed louder than ever. Something ancient, powerful, and unstoppable was stirring beneath them. The queen looked at him, her gaze unwavering. Kyle, whatever comes, we face it together. The palace has stood for centuries and we will protect it still. Kale nodded, though his heart pounded in fear and anticipation. He had always believed humans could rise to challenges beyond their understanding. But now, faced with a force older than any human memory, he wondered if even ingenuity and courage would be enough. As the tremors shook the palace again, Kale whispered under his breath, It's starting, and we have no time to waste. Outside, the city began to sense the change. Lights flickered, towers quivered, and whispers of panic spread like wildfire. Inside the palace, Kale and Liara prepared for what was coming, a danger that would test human courage, alien wisdom, and the bond that had begun to form between them. The first moment of the real crisis had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again. The tremors were no longer subtle. The palace, once a symbol of stability and grace, now groaned and shook as if it had become a living creature struggling against an unseen force. Chandeliers swayed dangerously, walls shimmered with stress, and the hum of the ancient energy beneath the palace grew louder with each passing second. Kyle grabbed Terrell's arm as they navigated the corridor. We need to secure the palace and get the queen to safety, he shouted over the rising roar of the structure. Dust fell in showers around them, and a faint crack ran along the polished floor. Every second counts, Terrell nodded, his smooth blue skin reflecting the dim light. The humans are quick, Kyle, but these tremors, they are unlike anything my sensors have ever recorded. Kale clenched his jaw. He had expected something dangerous, but this magnitude was beyond any prediction. His human instincts screamed at him to act quickly, to use ingenuity and speed to save lives. He was not trained in alien diplomacy to this extreme, yet he had to rely on both his experience and courage. At the throne room, Queen Liara stood tall despite the shaking. Her golden robes flowed around her as if they had a life of their own. She did not panic. Instead, she raised her voice and commanded her aides to stabilize the area. Guards secure the citizens. Engineers reinforce the supports. And Kale, Her amber eyes met his. "Stay with me." Kyle nodded and moved immediately. He guided the human and alien staff through the palace halls, helping them secure loose items and move citizens away from areas showing cracks. Many citizens looked frightened, whispering and clutching each other, but Kale's calm determination spread a sense of safety. In the main hall, a massive mural depicting Liara's ancestors quivered dangerously. One of the human engineers pointed at it. "If that falls, it could block the evacuation route." Kale sprinted forward, using a combination of human tools and quick thinking to prop the mural with energy stabilizers he adapted from the palace systems. The wall shuddered, then held firm. He exhaled deeply. One success, one step closer to safety. Meanwhile, Liara moved among her citizens, her calm authority a source of strength. She spoke quietly but firmly to those around her. "The palace was built to protect us, and we will survive this. Follow the guards. Stay together. Trust the plan." Kale watched her, admiration rising even amid the chaos. He realized humans were often praised for courage, but Liara's leadership was just as powerful. Even if different from human style, alien wisdom combined with human ingenuity might be the only way to save the palace. The tremors intensified. Kale felt the floor ripple like water beneath his feet. He glanced at the central chamber's entrance, the source of the ancient energy. Sparks of light shot through cracks in the walls, and he realized the energy was spreading. If it reached the upper levels unchecked, the entire palace could collapse. "We need to go deeper," he shouted to Terrell. "We must stabilize the source directly." Terrell hesitated. "It is dangerous. No human or alien should enter the energy chamber while it is unstable." Kale's eyes were sharp. "I don't have a choice. If this spreads, the palace will be lost, and so will our people. Follow me, Terrell. Together we can handle it." Liara watched them leave, understanding the risk Kale was taking. She knew humans were fearless in ways her own people were not, but she also trusted him. Somehow she knew Kale's courage might be what saved them all. The corridor to the lower chambers was crumbling. Parts of the ceiling had collapsed, and dust filled the air. Kale waved his hand to activate a portable energy shield, cutting a safe path through the debris. Terrell followed, impressed despite himself. "Human ingenuity never ceases to amaze," Terrell muttered as they moved. Kyle smiled briefly. "We have to be smart. Courage alone won't stop this." Finally, they reached the central chamber. The pulsating core glowed fiercely, throwing long shadows against the walls. Energy arcs leaped across the machinery, and the floor shook violently beneath them. Kale's scanner displayed readings off the charts. This was no ordinary quake. It was the awakening of a device older than anything humans or aliens had documented. Kale stepped forward cautiously. "This is it. We need to stabilize the core or the palace will fall." Terrell scanned the walls. "There are protective mechanisms. They may activate if we touch the core." Kale nodded. "We'll be careful. But we can't wait. The energy is rising faster than I can calculate." He activated his human tools, adapting them to interface with the alien device. Sparks flew as he adjusted the energy flows, redirecting them to reduce pressure on the palace structure. Terrell watched in awe as Kale worked, amazed by his ability to combine alien and human technology intuitively. Suddenly, a surge of energy shot from the core, knocking Kale back. Terrell grabbed him just in time. The floor beneath them trembled, and the chamber shook as if the planet itself was angry. "Kyle, step back!" Terrell shouted. "I can't. Not yet." Kale gritted his teeth, standing again. "We're so close. Just a little more. If I can reroute the main energy channel, it should stabilize the palace temporarily." Energy sparks flew across the room, illuminating the carved walls. Ancient symbols glowed, reacting to the humans and aliens working together. Kale realized the device had been designed to test its operators, challenging anyone who tried to control it. Minutes felt like hours. Kale and Terrell worked in precise synchronization, human creativity meeting alien logic. Slowly, the tremors began to subside just a little. The palace, still shaking, was no longer in immediate danger of collapse. Kale looked at the device, exhausted but determined. "It's holding, for now." Terrell exhaled, relief visible in his expression. "You have done well, human. But this is only temporary. The energy will rise again." Kale nodded. He knew Terrell was right. The palace might be safe for a short time, but the source of this power was awakening. They would have to understand it fully or face disaster. Back in the throne room, Liara had been coordinating evacuation efforts. Citizens were guided to safe zones, and guards reinforced the palace structures as best they could. When Kale returned, he found the queen standing tall, her amber eyes sharp. "Report," she said, her voice calm but commanding. Kale explained what he had done and the state of the energy core. Liara listened carefully, nodding. "Your actions saved lives today, but this is only the beginning. We must uncover the source of this power, and quickly." Kale looked around the room. The citizens, though frightened, were calm, inspired by the leadership of the queen and the determination of the humans assisting them. He realized that courage was not just about facing danger. It was about inspiring others to face it with you. Suddenly, another tremor shook the palace. Not as strong as before, but enough to remind them that danger was far from over. Kale felt his pulse quicken. "We need to investigate the hidden chambers beneath the palace. That's where the energy is coming from." Liara's gaze sharpened. "Then we go together. Humans and aliens working as one. The palace, our people, our planet, we protect all." Kyle smiled faintly. He had never worked with an alien ruler like Liara, but now he understood something important. When courage and intelligence meet leadership and wisdom, even the most impossible challenges can be faced. The queen extended her hand. "Lead the way, Kyle. Show me the path to the heart of this power." Kale grasped it firmly. "Let's see what we're really dealing with." As they moved toward the hidden chambers, the palace trembled once more, and the hum of the ancient energy grew louder, like a heartbeat echoing through the floors. The human envoy and the alien queen were about to uncover secrets older than either of their worlds, and they would need every ounce of courage, ingenuity, and trust to survive what was coming next. The palace had stopped shaking for now, but everyone inside knew. The true challenge was just beginning. The passage to the hidden chamber was narrow and dimly lit, carved long ago from the planet's living rock. Kale led the way, Terrell close behind, while Queen Liara followed with her guards. Every step echoed through the tunnel, amplified by the soft hum of energy that seemed to come from deep below. Kyle's hands brushed the walls as he moved. The stone was warm to the touch, and faint glyphs shimmered along the surface. He recognized them from the palace archives, ancient symbols that told the story of a civilization that had mastered energy in ways humans could only dream of. "This is incredible," Kyle whispered. "It's like walking through history itself." Terrell's large eyes glimmered in the dim light. "History and danger. The energy below reacts to our presence. Be cautious." Liara did not speak, her eyes scanning the tunnel ahead. She had faced crises before, but even she could feel the tension rising. The hum beneath them was growing louder, almost like a heartbeat, steady yet threatening. When they reached the chamber door, the ground trembled underfoot. Kale put his hand on the console near the entrance. Symbols glowed as the door recognized them, responding to Liara's presence. Slowly it opened with a low groan, revealing a circular chamber bathed in a pulsating blue light. At the center of the chamber stood the device, a towering structure of unknown metal, covered in glyphs that pulsed with energy. Streams of light arched from its surface, connecting it to the floor, walls, and ceiling. The energy flowed like living water, filling the room with a gentle but powerful hum. Kale took a step closer, his scanner humming wildly. This is beyond anything I expected. It's like it has a mind of its own." Terrell moved cautiously. "It is a creation of our ancestors. They designed it to control planetary energy. It has been dormant for centuries, and now it awakens." Liara's gaze never left the device. "We do not know what triggers it fully. The energy beneath the palace may grow unstable if we interfere incorrectly." Kale knelt near the control panel, examining the glyphs and lights. "If we can stabilize the energy, we can prevent further tremors. But if we fail..." His voice trailed, and even he could not imagine the consequences. The chamber quivered suddenly, and sparks flew across the floor. The device seemed to react to their presence almost as if it recognized their intention. Kale quickly adjusted his scanner, trying to understand its patterns. "Be careful," Terrell warned. "It can sense our attempts to manipulate it. One wrong move and it may unleash energy beyond the palace's ability to contain." Kale nodded, focusing. He was a human, trained in quick thinking and problem-solving. He understood machines, logic, and improvisation better than most. Using these skills, he began carefully interfacing with the device. his tools connecting to ancient circuits and conduits. Liara and her guards watched, ready to act. Citizens were evacuated, and only trusted aides remained in the lower chambers. The hum of the energy core grew louder as if the device itself was breathing. Minutes passed in tense silence. Kale adjusted the energy channels, diverting excess power away from the palace foundation. Sparks flew again and the floor trembled, but he held his ground. "This is incredible," Liara whispered almost to herself. "Human, your courage and cleverness. It may save our world." Kale glanced up, surprised.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
But it's not courage alone, it's understanding the system, thinking fast and not giving up. Terral's eyes widened. "Impressive. Human persistence is remarkable." Suddenly a shockwave pulsed through the chamber, knocking Kale back. Terral caught him just in time. The energy streams from the device flared violently, connecting to the walls and ceiling like lightning. Kale scrambled to his feet. "It's testing us!" "I knew it!" He activated a secondary stabilizer, redirecting the energy into safe conduits built into the chamber walls. The device hummed almost reluctantly, as if acknowledging his effort. Liara stepped forward. "Kale, you are risking much. The energy is too strong to control alone." Kale looked at her, determination shining in his eyes. "We have no choice. If this energy spreads, the palace will collapse and thousands may die. We can do this together." Terral nodded. "Then we synchronize. Human ingenuity, alien technology, and leadership. Together we can manage this." Kyle adjusted the conduits again, while Liara gave precise instructions to her aides, stabilizing the energy in other areas of the chamber. Sparks flew, walls shuddered, but slowly the device began to respond. "The energy is stabilizing. Temporarily," Kale said, sweat on his brow. "But it's not enough for long-term safety. We must understand what triggers it and how to control it fully." Liara examined the glyphs, recalling stories from her ancestors. These symbols are not just decoration. They are instructions, warnings, and safeguards. If we interpret them correctly, we can prevent the energy from rising again. Kale's eyes widened. "Then we need to decode it, fast. They work together, human ingenuity and alien knowledge intertwining." Liara's understanding of the symbols combined with Kale's problem-solving skills allowed them to trace energy pathways and identify weak points in the device's containment system. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The hum of the energy core became more predictable, less chaotic. Kale smiled briefly. "It's responding. We're learning its patterns." Terral studied the room. "If this continues, we may be able to stabilize the core permanently." Kale nodded, though exhaustion weighed on him. "Yes, but the device is ancient. It may awaken further, beyond anything we can predict. We need to remain vigilant." Liara's eyes met his. "And we will. Humans and aliens, working as one. That is how we face what comes next." A sudden pulse of light shot from the device, illuminating the chamber. Energy flowed outward, connecting to the palace foundation. The tremors above subsided, though a faint hum remained. Kale and Liara shared a moment of relief. They had bought time, but Kale knew it was only temporary. The device was awakening, and they had only scratched the surface of its power. "Your Majesty," Kyle said quietly. "This device, it could be used to protect the planet or destroy it. We need to study it fully, understand every function, or the next surge could be catastrophic." Liara nodded solemnly. "Then we learn, together. The palace is safe for now thanks to you. But the real challenge is only beginning." Kale looked around the chamber once more. The glyphs pulsed gently now, as if acknowledging their efforts. The energy core, though still alive, seemed calmer, contained by their combined skills. "We've stabilized it temporarily," Kyle said, "but we cannot leave it alone. I suggest we create a permanent monitoring system, combining human and alien technology, to keep the palace and the planet safe." Liara agreed. "We will. This chamber and its secrets must be understood fully. Only then can we protect our people and our world." Terral studied Kale. "Humans. You are remarkable. I did not believe it possible that one human could contribute so much to the safety of an entire planet." Kale smiled faintly. "We're capable of more than we often think. Courage, logic, and quick thinking. Sometimes that's enough to face even the oldest and strongest powers." The chamber fell silent for a moment. The hum of the energy core, a soft reminder that their work was far from done. Outside, the palace was safe for now, Citizens would return once the tremors had fully subsided. But deep beneath the palace, the ancient device waited. It had been dormant for centuries, and now it had awakened. Kale, Liara, and Taral had managed to stabilize it temporarily. But the mysteries of its full power remained hidden. Kale looked at the Queen. "We've done well, Your Majesty. But we need a plan for the next stage. This energy, it's only going to grow stronger." Liara nodded. "Then we prepare. Humans, aliens, all together. We face it, and we will succeed. The palace has stood for centuries, and with courage and wisdom, it will stand for centuries more." As they left the hidden chamber, the hum of the device faded into a steady pulse like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Kale knew the challenge ahead would be even greater, but for the first time he felt hope. Human ingenuity, combined with alien wisdom and leadership, had made the impossible possible. The palace trembled slightly one last time, a reminder that danger was never far. Kyle glanced at Liara. "The real test is just beginning. But whatever comes, we face it together." Liara smiled faintly. "Yes, together." And with that, the human envoy and the alien queen began preparing for the next stage, a test of courage, wisdom, and unity that would determine the fate of their palace, their people, and perhaps their entire world. The palace trembled again, stronger than before. Dust rained from the ceilings, and the soft hum of energy beneath the floors had grown into a deep, throbbing roar. Kyle stood in the grand hall, gripping a railing to steady himself. Around him, guards and citizens moved quickly, following Liara's orders, but fear was spreading like wildfire. "The energy core is rising faster than we predicted," Kale shouted over the rumble. "We need to evacuate the citizens immediately and reinforce the palace wherever possible." Liara's voice rang out, clear and commanding. "Citizens, follow the guards, move to the safe zones immediately. Stay calm and trust the plan." Her words carried a strength that cut through the panic, drawing the frightened people together. Kale ran alongside her, coordinating evacuation routes. "We need to split into teams. I'll take the eastern wing and stabilize the energy there. Taral, take the northern section. Liara, focus on keeping the citizens safe." Taral's eyes glimmered with determination. "Understood. Let's do this." The palace was in chaos. Cracks ran along the walls and the floors shuddered unpredictably. Chandeliers swung dangerously, narrowly missing the fleeing citizens. Kale ducked under a falling light panel and activated a portable stabilizer, redirecting energy away from the corridor. Sparks flew, but the structure held, for now. Liara moved among the citizens, her calm presence reassuring them. "You are safe. Trust the guards. Stay together." Her words inspired hope, even in the face of imminent danger. Kale could see the trust and faith in her people's eyes, and it strengthened his resolve. He reached the eastern wing where the tremors were strongest. The walls were lined with conduits carrying the ancient energy from the core below. Kale studied the conduits, then quickly connected his portable stabilizers to redirect the surging power. The equipment hummed and sparked as energy flowed safely into the walls, reducing the pressure on the foundation. "Temporary stability achieved," Kyle muttered. "But it won't last long. We need a permanent solution." A sudden quake knocked him to his knees. He scrambled to his feet, eyes widening as he realized the energy was not contained. It was spreading faster than he could control. Sparks flew from the conduits, arcs of energy leaping unpredictably. "Liara!" Kyle shouted through his communicator. "The energy is spreading. We need a new plan or the palace may collapse." Liara's voice came back, calm but urgent. "Then we improvise. Use what we have. Protect the people and buy time. I trust your judgment, Kyle." Kyle gritted his teeth. He knew she was right. They had no choice but to act quickly. He activated a series of stabilizers he had modified for rapid deployment, running from one conduit to the next. Each one hummed and sparked, drawing off energy and giving the palace a temporary reprieve. Taral appeared beside him, linking additional stabilizers to the northern conduits. "Human ingenuity is remarkable," Taral said, his voice strained. "I never imagined such efficiency under pressure." Kale gave him a brief smile. "We're not done yet. Keep going." Meanwhile, Liara had organized the citizens into safe zones in the lower chambers, away from the palace's most vulnerable areas. She moved swiftly, guiding the people with authority and care. Stay together. Follow the guards. Trust each other. Her words were like a shield against fear, giving them courage to move calmly despite the chaos. Suddenly, a surge of energy shot up from the device below. The tremor rocked the palace violently, knocking Kale and Terrell off their feet. Sparks and shards of debris flew in every direction. Kale scrambled to stabilize the conduits, shouting instructions to Terrell. "We need to divert the energy to the dormant planetary core. It's the only way to prevent the collapse." Terrell nodded, quickly rerouting power to the conduits leading to the planetary core. The energy surged along the new pathways and the tremors subsided slightly, though the palace still quivered with unstable power. Kale wiped sweat from his brow. "It's working, but only for now. We need to finish the stabilization, or the energy will rise again." Liara joined them, her guards forming a protective barrier around the engineers. "Kyle, we trust you. Lead the way." Together, Kyle, Terrell, and Liara worked furiously. Kyle adjusted the stabilizers, rerouting surges and calibrating them to the palace's architecture. Terrell managed the energy flow with precise control, while Liara directed the palace staff to reinforce weakened structures and move citizens out of danger. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Sweat dripped from Kale's brow, and his muscles ached from constant effort, but he refused to stop. Every moment counted. Every action could save lives. Finally, the energy core stabilized enough to stop the immediate tremors. The palace quivered slightly, but no walls collapsed, and the citizens remained safe. Kyle exhaled, exhaustion and relief flooding through him. Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done well, Kyle. Human courage and ingenuity have saved countless lives today." Kale shook his head. "We've only bought time. The energy is still unstable. If we don't understand the device fully, this could happen again, worse than before." Liara nodded, her eyes serious. "Then we must prepare. Study the device, learn its secrets, and be ready for what comes next. Together, humans and aliens can face any challenge." Terrell added, "The temporary stabilization is remarkable, but the energy will rise again. We must create a permanent solution or the palace and our people will remain at risk." Kale nodded. "I know, but we've proven something important today. When humans and aliens work together, combining courage, wisdom, and intelligence, even the most impossible challenges can be faced." The citizens, now safely in designated zones, watched as the Queen and Kale coordinated the final adjustments to the palace's systems. Murmurs of admiration and gratitude spread through the groups, a quiet reminder of the bond forming between humans and aliens. Suddenly, a faint tremor shook the palace again, much weaker than before, but enough to remind them that the device's power had not been fully contained. Kale and Terrell immediately moved to adjust the stabilizers, while Liara issued precise instructions to her guards. Kale glanced at Liara. "We've stabilized it for now, but the next surge could be stronger. We'll need to understand the source, how it works, and how to control it permanently." Liara's amber eyes met his. "Then we will. Together. Humans and aliens. This palace, our people, and our world, we protect all. Nothing will stop us." Kyle allowed himself a small smile, despite the exhaustion. "Then let's prepare. We'll study the device and find a permanent solution. No one will be caught off guard again." Terrell's voice was calm but resolute. "It is remarkable. Human courage and determination, combined with alien knowledge. It may be enough to face anything." Kyle nodded. "It is. And today, we proved it. We've faced the first wave, but the device is ancient. It has secrets we haven't uncovered yet." Liara's hand rested lightly on Kale's shoulder. "Then we uncover them. And when the next wave comes, we will be ready. Together, we are unstoppable." The palace hummed softly, the energy core now contained but still alive. Outside, the citizens began to feel safe again, though the memory of the tremors remained fresh in their minds. Within the palace walls, humans and aliens had worked, as one, combining courage, wisdom, and intelligence to survive a threat that could have destroyed everything. Kale took a deep breath, looking around at the Queen, Terrell, and the palace staff. We've survived today, but this is only the beginning. We need to learn everything about that device, its power, its purpose, and its limits. Only then can we protect the palace and the planet fully. Liara nodded. And we will. This is not just about survival. It is about proving that humans and aliens together can face challenges beyond imagination. Today, we have done that. A quiet calm settled over the palace, though the faint hum of the energy core reminded them that danger was never far. Kale, Liara, and Terrell knew that the next challenge would be even greater, but for the first time they felt hope, a sense that courage, wisdom, and unity could overcome even the most ancient and powerful threats. As they prepared to study the HFY device in depth, Kale whispered under his breath, "We've faced the first wave. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Liara smiled faintly. Yes, together. The palace had survived the rising danger, but the device beneath it remained active, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. The next surge could be stronger, more dangerous. But Kale, Liara, and Terrell were ready. Human ingenuity, alien wisdom, and united courage had made the impossible possible. And they would continue to fight, to protect their people, and to uncover the mysteries of the ancient device before it was too late. The palace shuddered violently, more intensely than ever before. Every tower trembled, walls groaned, and the chandeliers swung dangerously from their chains. The hum of energy beneath the floors had become a roar, shaking the very foundation of the palace. Kale's heart raced, but his focus was sharper than ever. "This is it," Kale said, gripping the edge of a console near the central chamber. "The energy is reaching its peak. We need to act now, or everything will collapse." Liara stood beside him, her golden robes flowing like liquid sunlight. Her eyes were steady, though the palace tremors shook her slightly. "Then we act. Humans, aliens, together. We protect our people and our world." Terrell nodded, adjusting the stabilizers he had set up during the previous surge. "The energy pathways are unstable. One wrong move could destroy the palace." Kale's hands flew across the control panel, rerouting surges of energy into conduits leading toward the dormant planetary core. Sparks flew, arcs of blue and white light leaping across the chamber. The hum of the energy core grew deafening as if it were alive, aware of their efforts. "Liara, we need to guide the citizens to the safe zones," Kyle shouted over the roar. "If the palace collapses, no one can survive above ground." The Queen moved quickly, her voice ringing out like a bell of authority. "Follow the guards. Stay together. Move to the lower chambers now." Kale and Terrell worked frantically, recalibrating stabilizers and linking energy conduits. The device pulsed, almost as if it were resisting their efforts. Yet every spark, every hum responded to Kale's human ingenuity. "Almost there," he muttered. "Just a little more." A violent surge erupted from the device, throwing both Kale and Terrell against the walls. Dust and debris filled the air, and the floor trembled violently. Kale gritted his teeth, pushing himself up. "It's trying to test us. Focus, we can do this." Terrell's hands moved with precision, connecting additional conduits to redirect the energy. "I've never seen such determination in a human," he said, almost admiringly. "You may be the key to saving the palace." Kale managed a brief, tired smile. "We're all key. Together." Above them, the palace shook so violently that parts of the ceiling began to collapse. Guards rushed to protect fleeing citizens, holding back falling debris with energy shields. Liara guided the people, her calm authority preventing panic from spreading. "This way," she shouted, leading a group of citizens to a reinforced chamber deep below the palace. "Trust the plan. Move quickly." Kyle worked faster, redirecting energy surges and stabilizing conduits. The hum of the device became almost musical, rising and falling in rhythm with their actions. The energy pathways glowed bright blue, illuminating the chamber in an ethereal light. "We're close," Kale said, adjusting one final conduit. "If I can redirect this main surge, the energy should flow safely into the planetary core, stabilizing everything." Terrell nodded, ready to assist. Do it, Kyle, we trust you. Kyle took a deep breath, then activated the final stabilizer. Energy surged violently, but instead of destroying the palace, it flowed smoothly through the conduits and into the dormant core beneath the planet. The roar of the energy began to subside, the tremors weakening until the palace finally fell silent. Kyle sank to the floor, exhausted but relieved. Terrell placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. You did it. The palace. It is safe. Liara approached, her robes glowing faintly in the soft light of the now stable energy. She looked at Kyle with respect and gratitude. Human courage and wisdom have saved countless lives today. You have proven that humans are capable of more than we ever imagined. Kyle shook his head, humility shining through his exhaustion. We did this together, humans and aliens. That's what made the difference. The citizens emerged from the lower chambers, their eyes wide with awe and relief. Many bowed to Kale and Liara, silently thanking them for their bravery. Some whispered about the human envoy who had faced an ancient power and survived. Others marveled at the Queen's calm and leadership. Liara raised her hand, commanding attention. Today we faced an ancient force and survived. This palace, our people, and our planet are safe because we acted with courage, wisdom, and unity. Let this be remembered for generations. Kale looked at the device, now quiet, its glyphs glowing softly. It had been stabilized, but its full power remained a mystery. We've saved the palace, he said quietly, but there's more to learn. This device, it's ancient. It has secrets we haven't uncovered yet. Terrell nodded in agreement. We must continue to study it. Humans and aliens together. Our combined knowledge is our greatest strength. Liara's amber eyes met Kale's. Then we prepare. The palace is safe, but the device is still active. We will learn its secrets, and when the time comes, we will be ready for anything. Kyle smiled faintly. He felt a surge of pride, not just in himself, but in what humans and aliens could accomplish when they worked together. I've seen what we can do together. Nothing is impossible if we combine courage, wisdom, and determination. Liara placed a hand on his shoulder. And we will continue to face challenges together. Today was only the beginning. The future is ours to protect, and we will succeed. Outside, the city began to stir. Citizens returned cautiously, marveling at the resilience of the palace and the strength of their leaders. Children peered curiously at the towers that had once trembled violently, while elders whispered about the bravery of the human envoy who had helped save them all. Kyle took a deep breath, gazing out over the city from the palace balcony. The twin suns cast a warm glow over the spires and towers, and for the first time in days he felt a sense of peace. The palace had survived, the citizens were safe, and the energy core had been stabilized. Yet he knew that the ancient device held more secrets, and that future challenges could be even greater. But Kale was ready. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and today they had proven they could rise to any challenge, even on an alien world. Liara joined him on the balcony, her eyes reflecting the sunlight. You have done more than save a palace, Kale. You have shown that courage, intelligence, and unity can overcome the greatest dangers. Humanity is truly remarkable. Kale smiled, feeling both humble and proud. We did it together, Your Majesty. Humans, aliens, everyone. That's what made the difference. The hum of the energy core beneath the palace was faint but steady, a reminder that their work was not finished. Kale, Liara, and Terrell would continue to study it, learning its secrets and ensuring that no force could threaten their world again. As the sun set behind the crystalline towers, casting long shadows across the palace, Kale felt a quiet sense of hope. Humans had faced impossible odds and survived. Aliens had witnessed human courage and ingenuity. And together, they had built a bond that could withstand any challenge. Liara's voice broke the silence. Kyle, you have saved us all. But remember, this is only the beginning. The device is ancient and its purpose is not fully known. One day we may need your courage again. Kyle nodded, determination shining in his eyes. Then I'll be ready. Whatever comes next, we face it together. The palace stood strong, its towers gleaming in the fading light. The city was safe, the citizens protected, and an ancient device lay dormant once more. But beyond the walls, beyond the safety of the palace, the universe awaited with challenges yet unknown. Kale looked out at the horizon, feeling the weight of responsibility and the promise of adventure. He knew that humans had the courage, the ingenuity, and the heart to face whatever lay ahead. And with allies like Liara and Taral, no force, ancient or new, could overcome them. The new dawn was here. The palace had survived, humanity had proven its worth, and a bond between worlds had been forged in courage, wisdom, and unity. The adventure was far from over, but Kale felt ready. The future was theirs to protect, and together, they would rise to meet it. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting golden light over the palace and city, Kale whispered quietly to himself, "We've survived today, and tomorrow, we will be stronger." Liara placed a hand on his shoulder one last time. "Yes, Kale. Together we are unstoppable." The palace stood tall against the fading light, the hum of the ancient device a gentle reminder of the power that lay beneath, waiting to be understood. But Kyle, Liara, and Terrell had faced it, and survived. And now united, they were ready for whatever the future might bring. The story of courage, unity, and human ingenuity had reached a new chapter. The palace would stand, the citizens would thrive, and humanity's spirit had shone brighter than ever among the stars. And in that moment, Kale knew. No challenge was too great when humans and aliens stood together, and the new dawn was just the beginning of an even greater adventure.